Good day, everybody. Hope you're doing good. It's Columbus Day. Hope you got the day off. Fortunately, I do. Hope a lot of you do too. I know not everybody takes it off, but what are you going to do, huh? Hey, this is our Week 7 review. This past Saturday, not as good as the Saturday before, but still a damn good Saturday. We had some good stuff happen, crazy stuff happen. We'll go over all that. We also got a few news items, not many. Unfortunately, a couple of them are injuries, but this late in the season, what do you expect? Anyway, before we start, hit that little subscribe button down there, wherever it is, so you don't miss anything. With it, let's get started with our news. Only 2 teams in all of America have not trailed in a single game this year. Can you guess what those teams are? I guessed and I was wrong. They are Indiana and Army. Everybody else in the nation has trailed. That's crazy, isn't it? Indiana and Army, the only 2 teams that have not trailed in a game this season. Speaking of Army, they and Navy are ranked in the same AP top 25 for the first time since 1960. Army's at 23, Navy is at 25, so that's pretty cool too. All right, so I said we got some couple of injury items, yeah. Colorado, if you saw that game, lost to Kansas State. Also lost Travis Hunter with a shoulder injury. I haven't seen yet timetable when he might be back. Maybe out there. I may have just not seen it. Also, 3 other wide receivers left the game with injury for Colorado. So their wide receiving core ain't looking too good right now. Florida quarterback Graham Mertz left the Tennessee game with a lower leg injury. Another one I haven't seen when he might return, but who knows? We'll see. All right, so we're gonna do a review. Some of the interesting things that happened. We'll go back to last Tuesday. It is that time of the year. We got games during the week. We got some this week too. We'll go over those. Tuesday, Liberty beat Florida International 31-24 in overtime. A lot of games you figure wouldn't go into overtime this past week went into overtime. Totally crazy. Liberty now has the nation's longest active regular season win streak at 17 games. Quarterback Caden Selter, 125 passing yards. No touchdown passes, but he did run for 2 touchdowns, including the game winner in overtime. Running back Quentin Cooley, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kicker Colin Carfu, responsible for 7 points. Good game for him. Florida International, 2 turnovers, including 1 in overtime. Oh, well. Wednesday, Jacksonville State moved to 3-3, beat New Mexico State 54-12. Jackson State quarterback Tyler Huff threw for 196, 2 touchdowns, and then ran for a touchdown. So a hell of a game for him. Running back Trey Stewart, though, 118 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and he caught a TD pass also. So he had a hell of a game, too. Thursday, James Madison beat Coastal Carolina 39-7 to move to 5-1. Coastal Carolina, they're 4-2, still having a good year. JMU quarterback Lonzo Barnett, 199 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and ran for another touchdown. Defensive line, Lloyd Summer, 35-yard pick 6 for them. Good for him. Coastal Carolina quarterback Ethan Vasco, only 84 passing yards and a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Coastal Carolina, man, only 8 first downs in this game, 3 for 14 on 3rd down, 183 total yards. What's that say about James Madison, man? They're still a force. Western Kentucky, they're 4-2. They beat UTEP 44-17. Their quarterback, Caden Veltkamp, 264 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and also ran for another touchdown. Wide receiver Michael Matheson, 2 touchdown catches and a touchdown run. Geez, UTEP wide receiver Corey Wren, he did return a kickoff, though, 100 yards for a touchdown. So that wasn't all bad for UTEP. Let's see. Friday, Harvard, they're 3-1, beat Cornell 38-20. Harvard quarterback Jaden Craig threw 4 touchdown passes in the first half. 2 to Seamus Gilmartin and 2 to Cooper Burkhart. Northwestern, they moved to 3-3, beat Maryland. I wasn't sure if Northwestern was going to beat Maryland. Northwestern just didn't seem to be as good as they were last year. In Maryland, I just thought Maryland was a better team. I was still rooting for Northwestern, as you can see. But, yeah, I was happy they won. Get this, Northwestern won this game by only having 9 first downs, 3 for 12 on third down, 33 less plays than Maryland, and more penalties. Now, Maryland did commit 4 turnovers, 3 of them in the fourth quarter. Loxley ain't happy about that one. Northwestern ended up scoring 17 points off turnovers. So good for the Wildcats. They needed to win. UNLV, I don't even remember that quarterback's name that quit on the team. They don't need him. They are 5-1 now. Beat Utah State 50-34. The quarterback that stepped in, Haji Malik Williams, 233 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jardine Thomas, 139 rushing yards and a touchdown. Ricky White, 138 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Killen James ran for 105 and 2 touchdowns in this one. Spencer Patras, quarterback for the Aggies, had a great game, 461 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Did throw 3 picks, though. Utah State, 4 total turnovers in this game. What's his name that quit? Thought he was going to, be walking in off on a high horse or something. Meanwhile, UNLV's basically giving him the finger saying, dude, we don't need you. So there you go. Remember last year how good Arizona was? Remember that? It was like they were a surprise team. Arizona State was, that's reversed this year. Arizona State's a better team than Arizona. They beat number 16 Utah 5-1. Sam Levitt, quarterback for Arizona State, 154 passing yards and a touchdown. Cam Skadaboo, 158 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Last game for him. Utah quarterback Cameron Rising, 209 yards. Did I say Utah State? Why am I saying Utah State? Arizona State beat Utah. I don't know why I'm calling them the Aggies, the Utes. Anyway, Cameron Rising, 209 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions in his return back to playing quarterback. Was not good. Utes offense made it across the Arizona State 30-yard line 7 times. 7 times they got across the Arizona State 30-yard line. 1 touchdown. That is not good. Sun Devils, 7 less first downs, less time of possession, but they were 2 for 3 on 4th down, so they converted 4th down to help them win that game. We mentioned Army a while ago. They're 6-0 now, beat UAB 44-10. Their quarterback, Bryson Daly, man, this guy is incredible. 136 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, and he threw a touchdown pass. Can't believe he threw a touchdown pass. Army usually don't throw. Buffalo beat Toledo 30-15. Both of them are 4-2 now. Toledo, even though they lost, 1 penalty. I mean, I know coaches rather have 0 penalties, but hey, 1 penalty, you got to be at least happy about that. Missouri, they're back to winning. They beat UMass 45-3. Brady Cook threw 2 touchdown passes. Marcus Carroll, he rushed for 3 touchdowns in that one. Mizzou defense held UMass to 13 first downs, 2 for 13 on 3rd down, and only 95 rushing yards. Georgia Tech, 5-2, beat North Carolina 41-34. Jamal Haynes, running back for the Yellow Jackets, ran for 170, 2 touchdowns, including the go-ahead 68-yard touchdown run in the final minute to seal the win for Georgia Tech. Clemson started to look good again. They're 5-1. They beat Wake Forest 49-14. Kay Klubnik, 309 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Phil Mafah, 118 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Clemson defense held Wake Forest to 16 first downs, 3 for 11 on 3rd down, 233 total yards. Only 87 of them were rushing yards, and forced 2 turnovers. What a freaking game. Alabama 27, South Carolina 25. Gamecocks, man, they just played Bama. You kind of wondered after Alabama lost and South Carolina lost how they were gonna react after that. I think South Carolina reacted to that loss and played better than Alabama did. I don't know, maybe Alabama just thought, oh man, we'll never lose again after that. Forget that. And Gamecocks just kept getting at them. Threw Bama fits the whole game. 3rd straight game that came down to the last minute for Alabama to have to win. That's just crazy. Milroe, 209 passing yards, touchdown, 2 interceptions, but he ran for 2 touchdowns. Lenora Sellers, he had a great game for the Gamecocks, 238 passing yards, TD, interception. Raheem Sanders, rushing TD. They were, after this game was over, they were pretty even in all the categories except turnovers. South Carolina did have 2 more. I'll tell you what, when that last 40 seconds, 50 seconds, when South Carolina recovered that onside kick, I was like, they're going to win this game, and Bama fans are going to be all up in an uproar. Fire DeBow, get rid of him right now. We suck. But man, that all came to end when he threw that interception. Still, hell of a game, hell of a performance by South Carolina. Bama's got some work to do. They really do. I would not be surprised if they lose 1 or 2 more games this year. But if you're a Bama fan, remember, Nick Saban's first year in Tuscaloosa, 6-6, lost to Louisiana Monroe. So sometimes the first year, we all know there's growing pains. Wisconsin, they seem to have found their offense for the second game in a row. Beat a good Rutgers team, 42-7. Braden Locke, rushing touchdown, 240 passing yards, touchdown, did throw an interception. Tommy Walker, 198 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Hell of a game for him. Wisconsin defense held Rutgers to 13 first downs, 3 for 15 on third down, 271 total yards. Looks like Wisconsin's finally finding out where they are. I did not expect this one. I'm a Washington fan. I thought Washington was going to beat Iowa. Iowa kicked the crap out of them, 40-16. Cade McNair, 108 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Caleb Johnson, 166 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and a touchdown catch. Washington quarterback Will Rogers, not too bad today. 195 passing yards, touchdown. After the game, even though they lost so bad, they're still pretty even in the categories. Washington actually better passing game than Iowa, but Iowa did have the better rushing game. But they were kind of close in a lot of the categories. You're like, how the hell did Washington lose by so much? When you looked at the numbers, it was like, I don't know. Anyway, hey, congratulations to Kurt Ferentz. That's his 200th win. And I think I saw in Big Ten wins, he is five wins right under Woody Hayes. So I'm pretty sure he's going to get that this year. If not this year, next year. I mean, but the way they played, probably this year. 1-4, Miami of Ohio beat 4-1 Eastern Michigan, 38-14. Brett Garbett threw 4 touchdown passes for Miami of Ohio. They scored 17 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Memphis, they're 5-1. They beat South Florida 21-3. Northern Illinois beat Bowling Green 17-7 to move to 4-2. Notre Dame moves to 5-1, beat Stanford 49-7. Riley Leonard, 3 touchdown passes, and he also ran for a touchdown. Nice game for him. Irish defense held Stanford to 14 first downs, 4 for 12 on third down, 200 total yards, 1 for 1 in the red zone. Notre Dame was 6 for 7 in the red zone. Defensive lineman Howard Cross, 4 tackles and 2 sacks. Pitt moved to 6-0. First time they've been 6-0 since 1982. Wow. God, who was on that team? Wasn't Dan Marino on the 82 team? I think so. They beat Cal 17-15. I mean, hard-fought game, but they still won. Desmond Reed for Pitt, 120 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Cincinnati 4-2. They beat Central Florida 19-13. What the hell has happened to Central Florida? They're such a great team, and this year they just keep going down. Louisville beat Virginia 24-20. Both are 4-2 now. Louisville running back Isaac Brown, 146 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Virginia was better in all categories. All the number categories you look at, still lost the game. Oklahoma, I'm afraid Brent Venables isn't your guy. I really, really don't. And judging what I see out on the West Coast, maybe USC and Oklahoma should trade coaches. Texas just obliterated them, 34-3. OU kicked their field goal in the first quarter. That was it for them. UT scores 34 unanswered in that one. Ewers, he was a little shaky. He came back. First couple series, he didn't look all that good. But he finally settled in. He had a touchdown pass and a rushing touchdown. So, Red River rivalry for this year, Texas just kicked the crap out of OU. 2-3 Colorado State beat 4-1 San Jose State, 31-24. A.V. Morrow, 100 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns for the Rams. Armani Winfield, 62 yards, TD catch in the fourth quarter to win that one. San Jose State, 12 penalties for 112 yards. Took overtime, but Illinois did beat Purdue 50-49, moved up 5-1. Purdue was down 27-3 at half and made a comeback due to a lot of Illinois mistakes. Luke Altamar for the Illini, 379 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Good game for him. Josh McCray had 2 rushing touchdowns. Purdue quarterback Ryan Brown, 297 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Nice game for him, too. There is almost 1,100 total yards between these two teams in this game. They are really racking it up. USC. Man, we just talked about maybe Lincoln Riley should go back to Oklahoma. Venables should come out to USC. Dominated Penn State in the first half. Did not look good for Penn State. Penn State came back, forced overtime, won 33-30. Drew Alter, 391 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Tyler Warren, the tight end, 224 receiving yards and a touchdown. Miller Moss for USC, 220 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Quentin Joyner, 75-yard TD run and a 9-yard TD catch for the Trojans. Only categories that USC won in this game, when you look at all the categories, turnovers and rushing yards. Less turnovers, more rushing yards. They're 2 for 11 on third down. That is just crazy for a USC team. Yeah, you got one there for Lincoln Riley's going, did I make a mistake? I mean, we've seen a lot of coaches. They're not going to tell you they made a mistake, but you know they think about it. Rich Rod when he left West Virginia. Brett Bielema when he left Wisconsin. Maybe even, what's his name on ESPN. He was at Mississippi State, then he went to Florida. And I was thinking maybe he should stay at Mississippi State. But yeah, you wonder if Riley's doing that, second-guessing his decision, because he had a good in Oklahoma. I mean, he really, really did. Let's see what was next. Ohio, they're 4-2, beat Central Michigan 27. Dan Mullen. That's his name, Dan Mullen. Ohio 4-2, beat Central Michigan 27-25. Bobcat quarterback Parker Navarro, 147, touchdown, ran for 126 and a touchdown. Central Michigan, here we go again, 14 penalties for 128 yards. Them guys might have been running some bleachers when they got back to school. BYU 6-0 beat Arizona. We just talked about Arizona. They're not as good. 3-3 this year. What the hell's going on there? BYU beat them 41-19. BYU quarterback Jake Ratzliff, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Glazer, 21-yard pick 6 for the Cougars. BYU's looking at a damn good team that's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if they win the Big 12. Georgia 5-1 beat Mississippi State 41-31. Mississippi State did put up a fight though, didn't they? They only lost by 10. Carson Beck for Georgia, 459, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Mississippi State quarterback Michael Van Buren, he had a good game, 306 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, did throw an interception. 2 of those TD passes he threw to Kelly Akaharyi. I think that's how you say his name, Akaharyi. Georgia defensive back Malike Starks, 7 tackles. Other defensive back, Dan Jackson, 5 tackles. Secondary was really bringing it out there. UNL Monroe, 5-1 now, beat Southern Miss 38-21. Their quarterback, Aiden Armenta, 188 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. Running back, Ahmad Hardy, 121 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Southern Miss outscored 21-7 in the fourth quarter. That's crazy. North Texas, they're looking good. They're 5-1, beat FAU 41-37. Their quarterback, Chandler Morse, 336 yards, 4 touchdowns. 2 of them were to DT Sheffield, who had 126 receiving yards. Hell of a game for him. Cam Thatcher, the Owls quarterback, had a good game. 351 yards, 3 touchdowns. UNT defense, safety, Jaden Hill, 8 tackles and an interception. Linebacker Jalen Smith, 6 tackles. FAU was better on third down, but it didn't help them because North Texas was better on fourth down. This was a crazy one, too. I didn't see this one. I just saw highlights while I was watching another game. But it did take Tennessee overtime to beat Florida, 23-17. Okay, so beginning of this year, you see this game on the schedule, you're like, Tennessee's going to wipe them. Then as the season goes on and you watch both of them play, you're like, Tennessee's not looking as good as they were, and Florida's looking a little better than they were. So I obviously didn't know who was going to win this game. Plus, it's a big rivalry. It has been for years. But Tennessee pulls it out in overtime, 23-17. Dylan Sampson, 112 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, including the game winner in OT for the Volunteers. Graham Mertz, like we say, he got hurt, 125 passing yards, touchdown while he was still playing. Get this. Florida had the ball 10 more minutes than Tennessee, had more first downs, were better on third down, had more total yards. Both teams, Tennessee and Florida, each had 2 turnovers and 6 penalties. Tennessee, 3 for 3 in the red zone. Florida, 1 for 6. Texas State, 4-2. They beat Arkansas State 41-9. Jordan McLeod, Bobcat quarterback, 320 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and he also ran for a touchdown. Nice game for him. 2 of those TD passes were to Joey Holbert, who had 101 receiving yards. Washington State, they're 5-1 now. Beat Fresno 25-17. Ethan O'Connor had a 60-yard pick 6 in the fourth quarter for the Cougars. Pretty amazing. Fresno State, 11 penalties for 87 yards. This is a game I watched. Hell of a game. Overtime, LSU beats Ole Miss 29-26. Rebels led the Tigers the entire game. And this was one of those games, back a few weeks ago, we said, what LSU team are you going to get? You never know from series to series. This one was kind of that game. You didn't know what they were going to do each series. Were they going to look good? Were they going to look, Were they look like crap? You really didn't know. And it looked like Ole Miss was going to beat them. Probably should have beat them, but they got, like Benjamin Watson said on the SEC final, Tiger Stadium at night. You just don't know what the hell's going to happen there. You really don't. All kinds of crazy stuff. LSU seemed to be misfiring all game, though. I mean, they really, really did. But they did make the plays when they needed them to convert, to score, all that stuff. Other than that, there's like, what the hell? Nussmeier, 337 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Lacey, 111 receiving yards. His TD came in overtime to win the game. Damon Ramos, their kicker, 11 points in this game. Hell of a game for him. LSU defense, 6 sacks and 2 turnovers. Jackson Dart for the Rebels, 284 yards, touchdown, and an interception. Ulyss Bentley, 107 rushing yards and a touchdown. Rebels were 11 for 22 on third down, 2 for 3 on fourth down, 463 total yards, 9 more plays than LSU, more rushing yards, better in the red zone. Did rack up 110 yards and 12 penalties. But still, when you look at those numbers, how can you not say crazy crap happens at Tiger Stadium at night? I mean, because you look at those numbers, they should have won. They really should have. Maybe the penalties set them back on 110 yards of penalties. Maybe that did. But still, look at the rest of those numbers. You're like, there's something weird there at Tiger Stadium tonight. I don't know. Down the road in Lafayette, Louisiana's 5-1. They beat Appalachian State 34-24. I think we could say Appalachian State is no longer the giant killer. I don't know what's going on there. Raging Cajun quarterback Ben Woolridge, 198 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. App State quarterback Joey Aguilar, he had an okay game, 236, 3 touchdowns, but he did throw 4 interceptions. 2-4 Nevada. Remember how good Nevada used to be several years ago? Well, hey, they beat Oregon State, who's 4-1, 42-37. Savion Red, 127 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns for the Wolfpack. Kenton Crawford, 57-yard pick 6. Nice. Oregon State dominated all the categories you read about except turnovers. They had 4 turnovers in this game. Probably why Nevada won. Another classic. Everybody will talk about this game. Oregon, Ohio State. Oregon beats them 32-31. Dylan Gabriel, 2 touchdown passes, ran for a touchdown late. 341 passing yards. Jordan James, 115 rushing yards, touchdown. Will Howard for the Buckeyes, 326. 2 touchdowns, ran for a touchdown. Great quarterback play in this game. OSU had the ball 16 more minutes than Oregon. These two were pretty much even in all the other categories, except penalties. Buckeyes did have more penalties, 8 penalties for 70 yards, where Oregon only had 3 penalties for 25 yards. Oregon wide receiver, did you see this? Oregon wide receiver Trayshawn Holden. Jeez, dude, what the hell are you doing? Ejected for spitting on an Ohio State player. That's just stupid. I mean, I understand you're pissed and all, but why don't you just cuss him out? Why are you spitting at him? So, Trayshawn Holden, you are the loser of college football for this week. Congratulations. But don't fear. In today's society, somebody might take that title away from you today. You never know. Ryan Day, 1-7 against top 5 teams. We wondered how Vandy was going to do. Came a big high against Alabama. Would that still be in their heads? Would it affect them? They're playing Kentucky, who's a good team. Well, they beat Kentucky 20-13. Diego Pavie, everybody loves this guy. 143, 2 touchdowns, did throw a pick. Kicker Taylor kicked 49-yarder and 50-yarder field goals. Kentucky was they're mistake prone. Penalties, turnovers, missed assignments. Just wasn't their game. So Vandy keeps their rolling going. Good for them. Georgia Southern, they're 4-2. They beat Marshall 24-23. Syracuse is 5-1. They beat NC State 24-17. You keep waiting for Syracuse to have that meltdown like they do every year, like Oklahoma State does. Hey, we're midway through. Looking good, but we still got some games to go. Both quarterbacks, though, had a really good game. Both over 300 yards, both 2 touchdowns, so they have good games there. Wolfpack, only 1 for 6 on 3rd down and turned the ball over 3 times. Iowa State, they're 6-0. They're quietly making some noise after people have written them off the last couple of years. May come down to BYU and Iowa State in the Big 12. Wouldn't that be crazy? Beat West Virginia 28-16. West Virginia has such high hopes for this year. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Cyclone running back Carson Hansen, 96 rushing yards. Almost got 100, but he got 3 touchdowns. Nice. Iowa State, only 1 penalty. Wow. West Virginia, 6 penalties for 42 yards. Minnesota sweeps the LA Schools. They beat UCLA last minute, 21-17. Quarterback Max Brosmer, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the game-winning touchdown pass to Taylor with 27 seconds left. Both teams had less than 42 rushing yards. Isn't that crazy? UCLA, 10 penalties for 105 yards. That might be the theme of the weekend. Not overtime, but all the teams that got over 100 yards of penalties, because there's quite a few of them. I don't know what UCLA's, I don't know what their deal is. When Deshaun Foster came to coach, I was like, all right, that's cool. Man, they just aren't a good team. They just played LSU pretty damn good for the first half, and then, I don't know. We mentioned it a while ago, Colorado lost half their receiving core, if not all of it. Lost to Kansas State, 31-28. Wildcats are 5-1 now. Avery Johnson, 50-yard touchdown pass to Jace Brown, with 2:14 left to win that game. Boise State, they're 5-1. They beat Hawaii 28-7. Hawaii, only 15 rushing yards. Ouch. And 11 penalties for 95 yards. All right, so let's move on and go over some of these bigger FCS games. Dayton, they're 4-1 now. They beat Davidson, who's 4-2, 16-14. Duquesne, they're 4-2 now. Beat St. Francis, Pennsylvania, 38-7. Ty Howard had a 40-yard pick 6 for Duquesne. Columbia, they're 3-1. They beat Wagner, 24-6. Dartmouth, 4-0, beat Yale, 44-43 in overtime. Dartmouth was down 21 points at one point in this game. Won this game by stopping a 2-point conversion in overtime. So there you go. Georgetown, they're 4-2, beat Lafayette 17-0. Lafayette threw 4 interceptions in this game. Delaware, they're 6-0. They beat Maine 44-21. Delaware outscored Maine 21-7 in the 4th. Rhode Island, they're 5-1. They beat Brown 31-21. Brown led 21-17 in the 4th. Rhode Island scored 14 points in the 4th quarter to win that one. Missouri State, they're 4-2. They beat Illinois State 4-3. beat Illinois State, who is 4-3, 41-7. Jacob Clark, 3 touchdown passes. Drake, they're 4-1. They beat Butler, who's 5-1, 27-17. North Carolina Central, they are 5-2. Beat Virginia Lynchburg 68-0. New Hampshire, they're 4-2. Beat Leon 17-10. South Dakota, 5-1. Beat Youngstown State 63-13. Chase Mason, 161 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Mercer, they're 6-0. They beat Princeton 34-7. TJ Moore picked off Princeton 3 times. Intercepted them 3 times. Southeast Missouri State, they're 6-1. Beat Tennessee Tech 34-3. Paxton De La Rente, I like that name, De La Rente, threw 4 touchdown passes to become the school's career touchdown passing leader. So congratulations to Paxton De La Rente from Southeast Missouri State. Montana, they're 5-2. Beat Northern Arizona 31-20. Logan Fife, touchdown pass and 3 touchdown runs for the Grizzlies. Stephen F. Austin, 4-2. They beat Lamar 27-20. A lot of people said Lamar's going to win the South one. I don't know. I really don't know. Central Arkansas, they're 5-2. Beat West Georgia? Is that what it says? I can't read my writing. Anyway, they won 34-33. Tennessee State, they're 5-2. Beat Eastern Illinois 41-17. Draylon Ellis, 4 touchdown passes in that game. Incarnate Word, they're 4-2. Beat Nicholls State 55-10. Zach Calzada, 5 touchdown passes for Incarnate Word. Tarleton State, they're 6-1. Beat Utah Tech 42-0. UC Davis, they're 6-1. Beat Cal Poly 56-10. Miles Hastings, 4 touchdown passes in that game. Montana State 7-0. They beat Idaho, who's 4-3 now, 38-7. Tommy Malo threw 2 touchdown passes, ran for 2 touchdowns for the Bobcats. Okay, so we talked about when we were doing the review, that time of year, games in the week. Well, this is what you got this week. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m., ESPN2, 1-5 Troy versus 2-4 South Alabama. 7 p.m. on CBS Sports Network, 0-5 Kennesaw State versus 1-5 Middle Tennessee. 8 p.m. Eastern, 2-3 Louisiana Tech versus 1-5 New Mexico State. Hey, it's college football. Who knows? Something exciting might happen. Okay. Wednesday, though, gets a little better Wednesday. 6 p.m. ESPN2, 4-2 Western Kentucky versus 5-1 Sam Houston. Might be a pretty damn good game. Hell, Huntsville's just an hour up the road. If I didn't have to work on that day, I might go up there and see it. 8 p.m. CBS Sports Network, 2-4 FIU versus 0-6 UTEP. So there you go. And there'll be games on Thursday and Friday. We'll go over those probably Thursday when we come back and do another video. Anyway, yeah, I hope you have the day off. If you don't, man, just stay busy. It'll be over soon. Stay safe, work hard. We'll see you more than likely Thursday to do the preview of what's coming up this coming weekend. So stay safe.